The incoming Trump administration says it will bring back family detention centers for migrants with kids.
Donald Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, says that there is a plan to build new facilities. We're joined live this morning by Muzaffar Chishti, a lawyer and director of the Migration Policy Institute. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so first, how many new detention centers are we talking about and who would be targeted here?
Well, we don't know. I mean, that's part of Mr. Homan's lack of specificity. To build new detention centers takes a long time, a lot of money, and the Congress has not appropriated the money for that. In 2021, the Biden administration ended 3 detention family centers. So to build them up is going to take a long time. He's suggesting that they may build some tent facilities near the border, but those are also quite expensive and they take time to build up. So it'll take some time, but if they want to build it up, it will happen over time.
You know, I'm curious. There's been some reporting overnight into this morning that there's a pretty messy feud over immigration with backers in Silicon Valley. We saw Elon Musk tweeting yesterday on social media. They're at odds now with MAGA loyalists. It looks like the tech industry is supporting visas for highly skilled overseas workers. What do you make of this, and how does this impact what the president-elect wants to do on day one and stay true to his loyalists?
I think that's exactly true. There's a lot of schism we're going to see in the Trump administration. People who believe that the original promise of closing down the border and deporting all 11 million people out of the country is one side. On the other hand, he has a lot of followers who believe that legal immigration is very important to the economic health of our country. So you will see a lot of tension there. But I believe that initially, he will try to do on day one, he will end the current priorities of the Biden administration, which is that you must only target enforcement at certain high-level criminals and terrorist threats, and everyone else should not be targeted. And I think they're going to make possibly new guidelines that everyone is targeted, so people will have a lot of fear whether they can be deported when the administration comes in.
Yeah, speaking of everyone being targeted, the Trump administration's plan is to try to deport families together. What happens to children born here in the U.S. who are legal citizens?
So that's exactly one of the problems about deporting families together. We have about 5.1 million kids in the U.S. today who have at least one parent who is unauthorized. So you can imagine if the one parent is deported, then they have a Solomonic choice to make. Either they leave their child here because they have a right to be in the U.S., or they carry them with them to a country the child has not known. So that, I think, is sort of going to cause a lot of trauma. And that's why I think some of these family detention centers are really important, whether they get built up or no, because only when they keep families together in detention can they remove them together.
Okay. President Biden ended the workplace raids back in 2021. When we look back, President-elect Donald Trump does want to bring those back. Can you talk about how that would work?
So workplace raids are actually rare. The big workplace raids that happened in Iowa, actually during the Obama administration even, they are high profile. They take a lot of attention. But they take a lot of planning, which means also a lot of planning with local enforcement, a lot of money, and they actually do not yield too many people. So it's kind of a high cost and low benefit enterprise. But I think there will be some raids because there were some raids during Trump administration. They went after a number of 7-Elevens around the country. So we will see a spectacle of raids. Whether they will yield a lot of people is less clear.
All right, Muzaffar Chishti, thank you so much for joining us for your insight this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.